Yeah, man. So basically, I guess what happened was Tempest started the Galactic Consortium when it was under the Federation,
Yeah.
and I guess they. I'm not sure the whole story, but they had some disagreements, and he broke it away from the Federation, which I was not aware of. When I took a leadership role there.
Hmm.
But yeah, so he took it away from the Federation. To be fair, it was his. I guess he started it or whatever. But he also started this thing called the Black Hand. At least that's the accusation that's out there. Which
Hmm.
is like, I guess Tempest is anticipating PvP in this next update, and he felt slighted by the Federation and sort of wants to take his revenge out on them. And he was using the Galactic Consortium apparently to sort of build a community and establish trade routes and farms and things like that to basically fund his efforts um, to make some sort of war campaign against
Um.
the Federation.
Uh-huh.
Well, because the consortium originally was a department of the Federation, when Tempest did that, I guess 710 and other people there were figuring they would take it back, um,
Right.
which is understandable. But I don't think that 710 was aware of all of the different iterations of the Galactic Consortium, like, for example, the Amino.
Right.
So there was a database that was on Reddit and stuff like that that was curated over time. And then when I joined the Amino Consortium hub, there was only 18 members.
Hmm.
Well, now there's like 95. So
Right.
like, you know, myself and other people involved, obviously, you, Sword, Slade, all the people that have joined and kept busy and been adding content to the Galactic Consortium has grown it. And now there's this whole like debacle going on with like Tempest. Well, I don't play No Man's Sky to like wage wars on civilizations and do PvP and all that kind of stuff. This is like my chill game. Like, I want to explore, fly around, like hang out with friends, like visit farms and bases and stuff like that. Like, that's what I play this for.
Yeah.
So it's just brought unnecessary drama to the whole like consortium thing, um, which is making me question, you know, how much more time I want to continue to put into it.
Yeah. Right.
He kind of, if the accusations against Tempest are true, he kind of ruined it for me.
Yeah. Pretty much.
You know.
I mean, because I'm with you. I'm not into all that role play and all that other stuff. Um, I've been on Reddit. Around the time I joined the Amino, I joined Reddit because I just kept seeing um, so much stuff posted up. How you can find other ships and things like that. And I didn't know about all that stuff, especially sharing stuff and how hubs work and all that. And I think in one of my videos, I even said the first thing I did when I started playing this game was I turned base sharing off. I had no desire to meet anybody. I'm just not a big multiplayer type of person. Um, but when I started to see all the stuff that you could do and I started to see different YouTube videos, I got interested in it. So I joined Reddit and I started to see, a lot of this stuff. But when I got on the Amino, and then I would get on Reddit and stuff, I would see all this like, I don't know, I guess you could call it beef between people. Um, and I have seen Tempest's name pop up a few times when it comes to this or that, he say she say type stuff. But a lot of it seems to be like this role playing thing, and to be honest, a lot of the stuff I have not been able to really differentiate if people are really serious about, they're not gonna talk to people or, allow content on one website or app versus another or something like that. So then when I saw all this stuff, I'm thinking, oh hell, here we go again. And I've just been trying to piece it together and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, dude. I just the whole roleplay thing. Like the game has enough lore. Like we have enough lore in the game. Like we got in the last update 30 hours of story. Like I'm good on story. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
I'm just happy flying around, meeting people, getting involved in like cool stuff. Like I'm not really there for that kind of thing. And I voiced that to Tempest. Like Tempest knows that. He kind of like broke my heart with the whole thing because I
Hmm.
was pretty passionate about like the whole consortium thing and like was trying to get other people involved and stuff like that. And I was very specific that like I'm not into role playing. I don't care about all that. Like I just want a database. Like the Galactic Consortium is just a database and a place for like people to meet. Like there's communities
Yeah.
out there for role play if that's what you want to do. You know, if you want to pretend that you're part of some fucking empire or something like that. Like there's a place for that. But like the
Yeah.
consortium wasn't really meant to be like that. Like at least not how he sold it to me. And
Uh-huh.
the theme of it is like it's like a corporation, like a cooperative. So something that I'm thinking about doing, and I haven't made my decision yet. But I may just break away from it altogether
Mm.
and start my own. And in the
Okay.
in the vision that like I always wanted it to be anyway, sucker free, drama free, like none of that bullshit.
Yeah. Um, you know, there might be an opportunity maybe to kind of rebrand the consortium hub and the consortium amino. I noticed recently a lot of the people from the No Man's Sky amino have joined up, and I know Boy recently took a curator position with it to help out with that, and I know Niblet's willing to help out, and I've seen Lexachek on there as well. And from my interactions with all of them on the amino, none of them really seem to be about the whole, um, you know, role playing aspect, that you can do. So perhaps with the help of them and others like them, um, it's possible that you know maybe the consortium can be rebranded so that it can kind of go away from all this extra stuff and just kind of go back to the original plan for it.
That's what I hope, but just things are are happening that I don't have much control over. Like, for example, I'm not real big on Reddit. I'm not real big on how it works. I don't understand it that well. Um, I don't understand the Federation ties to the consortium all that well. Like, I know that
Mm.
Mighty Fox, for example, who's a leader of the consortium, I think he's the one who started the Amino consortium with Tempest,
Okay.
and he knows a lot about that kind of stuff, and like he knows a lot about
Right.
Reddit and like the history of kind of what's been going on and everything. But he's been making also a lot of unilateral decisions that like I've been expressing that like I'm not comfortable with. Like for example, Sword had a leadership position with the Galactic Consortium, mainly
Mm.
because he produced a lot of really high yield farms for the consortium and was like one of the first like residents of like the hub that we tried to set up and like started coming up with trading routes, and he was contributing a lot of like his time.
Mm.
So he was made a leader. And then like apparently like that got redacted. Like people were removed from leadership positions and put down to curator positions or taken in any sort of leadership capabilities out altogether. And it's at the end of the day, like I get it. Like people were there before me, People have
Right.
a certain level of seniority there. I know Mighty Fox puts a lot of time and effort into that. He started the consortium chat that everybody uses and all that kind of stuff, and he like originally sort of helped set up and curate a lot of the databases.
Yeah.
But since since I joined, on at least on the amino side, there was 18 people, and no one was
Hmm.
really all that active.
Yeah.
Hosts were like weeks or months apart, you know.
Hmm.
So I incorporated the Galactic Consortium into my channel. Like I promoted it, I talked about it a lot. Like I tried to get really active on there, tried to bring other people on board, and sort of get some excitement going. And the Reddit numbers started to go up on the enrollment. The amino app numbers started to go up on the enrollment. A lot of changes were made, so it's like I contributed a great deal to this thing as well, you know. And like
Yeah.
I have a certain like idea of what I always wanted like the whole thing to be, what Tempest told me like his vision was, which we know now is probably a lie. What they say is true,
Hmm.
you know. So it put a sour taste in my mouth for the whole thing, and because there's so much embedded infrastructure right now into the consortium, it's difficult. I'm struggling with the idea of starting a new one and having to start those databases over and start all
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
over and start seeding new farms and things like that. Like the idea of that kind of
Hmm.
scares me a bit. But if that is what needs to be done to maintain the integrity of what I always wanted that to be, then I don't see any other choice really.
Yeah.
If we can salvage it, that's my preferred option. If we can keep the consortium hub together, or the consortium, community together, and rebrand it, sort of redo everything, get everything back to how it was, that'll be great. But communication needs to be increased. Like I need to know more about what's going on. Like I need to be consulted. I need to be asked. Like I don't want to receive messages from people like, "Hey, I got yanked out of this chat," or "I was a curator, now I'm not," or and it's not even me that's doing it, and I had no idea it was going
Oh,
to happen.
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's not the kind of bullshit like I'm trying to deal with. Man.
No, I'm so with you on that stuff. Um, you know, yeah, I mean, I can definitely see how it could be difficult if you're not getting the proper cooperation um, to kind of salvage what's left basically and rebrand and rebuild. Because I mean, obviously that would just be the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, it would be the easiest thing to do. Um, hey, what's going on? You are Godsmack. Thanks for jumping on the chat. Swords in the chat. Sword says, yeah, he's still salty about that. I don't doubt that like Mighty Fox is trying to like. I think he's sort of like in protection mode,
Hmm.
where he's kind of like digging in and you know trying to rectify things as quickly as possible and making a lot of decisions. Like I understand that. That's why I'm not trying to be like too upset about it. But when you're making leadership and curator changes, people that like I had put in place, or I had approval from the now defunct Tempest to put in place,
Hmm.
like talk to me about that kind of stuff. Like don't willy nilly
Yeah,
start
yeah,
sort of like demoting people per se, because people contributed a
right.
lot. Like Alexis said, like allowed us to put his farms, inside the consortium amino. Like
Hmm.
those are farms that he shared with the amino hub that Boyd and them allowed us to sort of put on our page as well. Sword,
Yeah,
who's also a member of the amino hub, has put a great deal of work in. Like those people deserve leadership positions, you know. And then not I don't know if you saw this the other day, but like people were getting yanked out of certain chats, but they didn't know why they were being yanked out. There was a good reason why they were being yanked out, because Mighty Fox was trying to consolidate the different chats and then having a leadership chat for like committee purposes, and then like just like the standard chat. Like so he was trying to like narrow the focus down a bit. But he did it essentially by acting quickly and then just yanking people out of chats. So Alexisek, who was in one chat where I wanted him, where we were talking about leadership changes, was then abruptly removed from that chat, and then in another
Uh-huh.
chat made a comment about like how he got kicked out. That could have been avoided just by telling Alexisek, "Hey, dude, we're gonna move you out of this chat because this is gonna be a leadership only chat, and curators and everybody else just go back to the normal consortium chat, and then we'll sort of like regroup and do a poll or something like that." But when changes are being made, when positions are changing, and people are being yanked out of chats, and things are moving around, and then we're not communicating that to people there, the whole thing just looks chaotic.
Yeah. The only thing I did notice was that he put up a quick comment before he did it, but he shut down the original general chat room. The what is it called?
The
The
conference room.
conference room or whatever.
Well, that
Yeah.
wasn't
So he.
the original. The consortium chat was the original one that he set up. The conference room I set up because I wasn't sure how the voice chat thing worked. And with PlayStation, you can only
Okay.
have 9 people on party chat. So I was trying to pipe in because Amino lets you have 100, and then like, well, you can have as many as you want, but only 100 can talk. And
Okay.
so I was trying to pipe that into like my live stream. So I created the conference room just for that. So basically, they were kind of
Oh,
both doing
gotcha.
the same thing. So it made sense to remove that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was just getting a lot of messages from people like, "What's going on? What's happening? Like, I'm not here for this. I'm out. I'm leaving." Like, obviously, Slade wasn't
Yeah.
real happy. Like, Slade has his own community. Like, he's got his own group, and like, he's got like links to his shit in the consortium. And when you got Tempest, who's trying to create some sort of PvP, organization that wants to take revenge on the Federation, and we have like other people's databases merged with ours, that hurts our credibility and like our trust with those people. Like, you know, just a lot of drama, man.
Yeah. Whole lot of unnecessary stuff.
Like a lot, like I'm not trying to. I was very happy with just visiting Circuit City that Sword built, you know, and making videos about farms I'm seeing. Like, I didn't like, why do any of that have to change for some bullshit?
Hmm.
So that's the gist of what happened, and basically, like, Tempest was removed from the consortium hub Amino, but that doesn't mean
Oh, okay.
that doesn't mean that he can't come back as a
Well,
different
yeah, yeah.
user.
Tempest was removed, but he could come back as whatever he wanted to.
Yeah.
And
So like, as we're gaining new members, like, we don't know who's who, and like the whole thing has just been sullied.
hmm.
And part of like why I want to say this over the stream is like, just in case like Tempest like watches this video, like, it disappointed me like to my core. Like, we were trying to work with the No Man's Sky Cafe. We were trying to work closely with the Amino Hub. Like, we were trying to like grow it as sort of like a corporate organization where we essentially were just listing data banks of farm locations. The TOG was letting us share stuff there. I was talking to other groups about potentially sharing it, so just having one central like location to visit like a lot of different people's resources, because some people don't necessarily want to go on some of the excursions that like the TOG community goes on, but maybe they just want to visit a gas harvester farm, you know.
yeah,
So they don't necessarily have to participate in like what they do, but they can benefit like as a community. Like, that's sort of what No Man's Sky has been about and has like excelled in. It's like that the community has cooperated and like worked together to sort of like push everybody forward, you know.
yeah, for sure. And then and also with that, whether he's watching or anybody else, um, all these guys from Reddit, and these Federation guys. Um, you know, I know just from reading Reddit and stuff. I know Tempest has been about this whole role playing stuff. It seems to be his thing. But he did a while ago. I don't know if you read this on the Amino app, but he tried a while ago to kind of incorporate some of the role playing stuff on the Amino app, and that shit got shut down quick. Somebody right away was like, "All right, look, if you're gonna do this role play stuff, then you need to indicate straight up right away that this is role play and nothing more." Because as soon as he put it up, it was something about some group that was threatening to overwrite bases or something like that. They were said to have already done it in the Galactic Hub. And like this is when I was saying like I was confused as to what was role play and what actually was going on. I have no idea to this day.
Yeah,
But
it
some
was
sort of
his fucking group. So
yeah,
he messaged me warnings about this group called the Black Hand and that he believes they're a threat. Like I brought him into an organization within the No Man's Sky community that like people would get mad at me for like talking about, to try to like isolate the problem and like nip it in the bud, and people said they weren't taking it very seriously. They didn't seem to have like any clout, like, and it was this Black Hand stuff. Like Tempest was like warning me about it, telling me about it, bringing it up a lot. Come to find out, he fucking created it. It was his whole RP thing that he was doing, and it's like he's two different people, And on one side, he's like the leader of the Galactic Consortium, and he's like doing all this stuff, and then on the other end, he's like
yeah,
creating like a whole goddamn like role play thing, And he's got this
yeah,
whole Solanium Imperium thing, and I was like supportive of all that as long as it stayed away from the Consortium.
yeah. And yeah, it's stuff like that that I was just like, like I said, he tried to bring to the Amino, and I mean, he got put in his place real quick about, that this isn't role play stuff because all the comments were like, wait a minute, what's going on with the bases? Who's overriding what? You know, and there was a lot of new people that were asking those questions because they didn't know, was this something that we have to worry about? And this was all before we heard about Next and all that stuff. And so after that, at least on the No Man's Sky Mino app, all of that stuff stopped. There were no more posts about. Um, I don't think it was called the Black Hand. It was called something else then. But um, after that, there was no other talk about that. All that stuff stopped real quick because it seemed the majority of people, um, especially the curators and the other leaders, um, they just, no one really wanted a part of it, and they were like, look, if you're going to do this, you need to specifically say that this is role play and nothing more.
Right. Like everybody sort of has their rules. Like there's a place for everything. Like the original No Man's
Mm.
Sky Amino, NMS Cafe, Amino Hub, like none of those guys want TOG. None of those guys want the role playing stuff. Like
Nah.
like a lot of people just aren't into that. But there's a place you can go for that. There are places you can go. I mean, even Lily at the cafe, like there's certain times of the month where it's like like free post Friday. You want to tell a
Yeah,
story.
yeah. The first of every month,
Yeah,
you can post kind of whatever. Most people
exactly.
do real life stuff. But
Real
yeah, I know
life
what you're
stuff,
talking
or
about.
like usually what I do is like I write some sort of like short fiction thing that is part of like like I have a story time hashtag in there, and I kind of do that whole thing. There's a time and a place to like participate in that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Real quick, I'll address Swords in the chat. He was saying that he's fighting the urge to reset every one of his farms. The only reason why they're still standing is because the players that use the farms have nothing to do with the BS that's happening this week. Yeah, I mean, I understand, Sword, that you want to just kind of, cut the ties with it and stuff like that. But I guess I'm in the camp that says let's just try our best to keep it the way it is, and just to disassociate ourselves with all this drama, and try to make it back like Panda and I were saying earlier. But um, you know, Panda knows much more about the politics in it as well, um, and how that's going to work. But yeah, I know all of all those guys. They don't want to deal with that stuff. And me personally, I don't want to deal with that. Um, just to give you an idea of how much I don't want to deal with all that drama, this whole politicizing all this stuff is like, I'm from DC, right? I live in Maryland. I work in DC. I cannot get away from politics, right? No matter how much I try, it's in my face all day, every day. Finally got away from it a little bit last week when I was on vacation. The last thing I want to do is come home from work and see on some chat or something that the Federation does not associate itself with Amino because this and this and this, and we're going to take away all this and that because of that, and the leaders have spoken, and this is what's going to. That's the last thing I want to hear about. You know what I mean? I come here just like you said, fly around, find farms, meet people, do some cool stuff, and just have fun. Not all this extra stuff.
Exactly. Like, I get it. There are civilizations out there. The Federation is like the original, the oldest one. The Galactic Hub is the most populated hub. Like I get all of that. I just don't want any part of that. Like, I want to be sort of not necessarily like people's ally, like, per se, but like, I just want to be independent from all of that. Like,
Yeah, sure.
like
I mean, I want to be able to go anywhere I want to in this galaxy. If I feel like popping down to the TLG for a little bit, rolling with them for a while, doing, messing with their bases, making some money with them, or going on one of their, going on one of their extensive tests with them to figure out, how long it takes to run around a planet or something. Then I want to do that. If I'm watching one of Zane's videos and he puts something up in the Galactic Hub, I want to go down to the Galactic Hub and check it out without any drama.
Exactly.
That's what I want.
Well,
And that's how it should be.
I want to support different play styles too. Like, some people didn't understand, like, like why we would want like a hub, and like hub's kind of like not the best description of like what we were trying to do. Like, Sword was just seeding farms in a local area of space where people can reside to make it easy to accumulate credits in the game, right?
Yeah.
It's just that simple. That's all that was ever supposed to be. And then, he was looking into trade routes and things like that. And, because there's different ways that people play the game. With Next coming and the possibility of PvP where players can potentially attack each other, we were toying with the idea of having sort of like a military for players that wanted to opt into that. That, if they wanted to help another community to, because of griefers or something, or whatever the case, like whatever allows people to play their style, like, independent, but in a not harmful way, like nothing offensive, just everything, like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but
yeah, no, I definitely get what you're saying, because
just chill, everything's chill.
Yeah, because I mean, you are gonna have griefers try to come by and just start whatever. I mean, I've seen a lot of people from the various hubs talk about getting together their military, and it's not like a kind of like the role play that Tempest and some other guys are into. It's more just kind of being real and saying, look, we know people are gonna just try to start some stuff if they have this kind of PvP openness, and it's you can come and destroy somebody's farm. What can you do about it? So people want to kind of anticipate that, and that part's understandable. And I think that's what a lot of people are trying to do with the hubs and their militaries or whatever they want to call them. So I see what I knew exactly what you were trying to do with that. A few guys over at the Amino are doing that as well. The same thing. People just kind of are anticipating it. And if you've seen on the No Man's Sky Amino app, there have been a lot of people that have joined just to talk shit about that, to say, you know, come July 24th, I'm burning the whole place down, or I'm destroying all these farms or whatever, So there are people that really want that aspect, and I think all these militaries, the one that you were talking about included, are just trying to basically anticipate that and prevent it if it comes about.
Right. Because they have their own communities to manage. And like with the consortium, most people who are joining the consortium are people who are looking to go to the farms to make the circuit boards or whatever to make the units in the game. Right?
Yeah.
Not like a majority of the people that are there are doing that. They're not seeding the farms. So I felt that like in a way, like because those people are sharing their farms with us and there's other people that are utilizing it, I felt that
Hmm.
like we had a certain like duty or responsibility to like at least create some sort of defense mechanism that was voluntary
Yeah.
to help protect those assets should PvP be like a thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Just
so
real quick, welcome DG Squared's in the chat. What's going on, man?
oh that's so sick. What's up, DG Square? Sword says we're still cool. Sword. I didn't think that we weren't ever not cool. Um, I knew that the whole thing was bugging you, and I just wanted to be clear that I didn't change your leadership title or position within the consortium. That was something that Mighty Fox did as he's trying to, I guess, consolidate and narrow things down. Um, we're looking at changing the name. We've been toying around with a couple of different names um, to just change the whole thing over. Tempest wants the consortium. He can get it in name only. But
Yeah, I mean, even something like that, that would work, if you want to do it like that. I mean, it's kind of just like when a company goes through some bad stuff and they come back, change the name, change the logo, to try to disassociate themselves with all the bad stuff that happened. It's pretty much what this is.
exactly.
Because I mean, it would be so much work to do this stuff all over again. I mean, and I don't know if Amino itself, the app itself, would ever change any of this, but I would love it if I can create a wiki in one Amino and be able to just port that wiki over to something else. So that's one of the reasons why if I make a wiki in one Amino, I'm not going to make it in the other ones. I'll make a post about it, and I will link people to it that might want to see it. Now I'll post it in the one that I think it's going to do the best in. But it's a chore to write it up for each one of them.
No, it
And I would
definitely
only
is.
imagine that it would be even tougher to take everything that's posted in there right now and then have to port it all over to a new one if that were to happen.
I'm not even so sure that I would port it over. To be honest, like
Hmm.
I think if it got to the point where I was just going to start over, I would just start over.
Okay.
People could come if they wanted. They could transfer their stuff over if they wanted, but I would just start over. That
Okay.
that's
Gotcha.
that's how little I want to deal with that shit.
Yeah.
You like Quanta also. Like Quanta's been working really hard to like come up with like different names that we could potentially go under.
Mm.
Stuff like that. So it's I mean people are trying to fix it. Um, I would recommend that anybody from the consortium might be watching this, just sort of, if you've got to put your notifications on mute for a while and kick back until we get sorted out, that's what I recommend doing, so that you're not victim to the chitter chatter in there about this crap. Oh my god, I'm not hitting this guy. There we go.
Yeah, well, if you end up doing a brand new one, I'm pretty sure pretty much everyone that's there now, especially the people that are active on the other aminos, will just join right over and then just kind of pick it up from there and, start over again. I don't think most people will have too much of a problem with
that. Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of people would just slide on over. I would agree with that.
I mean, because I see so many people on all the different ones. Pretty much everyone that I've run onto the original Amino app, I've seen those people on Cafe, TOG, and the consortium. So I'm pretty sure most people just join on over to a new one, especially if we all know who's going to be there and what it's going to be about, basically.
Yep. But yeah, that's sort of, I guess from what you missed, that's sort of the gist of it. And I had a lot of stuff going on too. Like I had like some drugged out kids slammed into my sister-in-law's car, and so
Oh God.
I had to go help her and her mom go looking for different cars. They needed a ride because the rental car had to go back, and I got things going on, and so I was kind of away for a while.
Yeah.
And then I came back excited. I was like, all right, I can get back when you holler at everybody, say sorry for disappearing for a bit, not saying anything, but I'm excited to be back and do some No Man's Sky. And within 24 hours of coming back and logging into the app and stuff, that is when I run.
Yeah, with all that stuff. We'll see you later, Sword. Sword's getting off tonight.
Have a good one, Sword. Take care. But yeah.
Oh, give me 1 second. Be right back. I'm gonna have to be like Sword and get off myself. Get up in a little bit.
No, that's awesome. Thanks for stopping by, and I just know I appreciate you sticking around and kind of while we work through this thing.
Not a problem at all. I know it'll all get sorted out. I know you didn't sign up for this. I know I didn't sign up for all the extra stuff. I just hope that we can get past it sooner than later and just keep it moving.
Yeah, like I said, I wish the communication was a little bit better with everybody. I'm out of the loop on a lot of this stuff, but I think that's mainly because, at least I hope, that's because Mighty Fox is just trying to shore up the databases, trying to maintain, as much as he can, not lose too much, keep things in order, and that he's just busy knocking that stuff out and is just forgetting to talk to people. That's what I hope it is.
Yeah.
Because if you see people that used to have moderator privileges and then all of a sudden they don't, or they used to be leaders and all of a sudden they're not, let me know. But if that's happened to you, I'm sorry, and it's probably not intentional, and you'll probably get those privileges back. I think that Mighty Fox is just trying to reduce that as much as possible so that he can do his work. At least that's what I hope. And we'll see. But I appreciate you stopping by,
Right.
man.
Yeah, no problem. I will try to jump on with you on a future one.
All right, dude. Appreciate it.
All right, I'll see you.
Later. So, yep. For anybody that wasn't aware of what happened with the whole Black Hand Consortium thing, that's pretty much the gist of it. I haven't actually done any of the storyline really, and with next being right around the corner, I kind of want to get more of the story done here. Because obviously a lot of changes are going to come. Maybe there's going to be additional story, more story, so I kind of want to be caught up. I never really played No Man's Sky for the story, so when the story mode came, it was cool, but I never really dived into it. Now I'm trying to trying to get it done. All right, browse missions. We got to do merchant missions. All right, let's go drop this thing off. I have not seen one of those in a long time. You get none of my money. DG squared, if you're still watching, man, what are your thoughts on the whole thing? Do you have any opinions on, should I try to salvage what I can and sort of get the consortium back to where it was after this whole Black Hand thing, or should I let it go and look into something new? Yes. You let it go and move on, DG? That's kind of what I'm thinking too, also, man. Paula breaks off mid-sentence, their heart turning to crimson. Where are you? It found me just like it found you. I can't feel my legs. It's strange. Here, don't you understand? It won't let me leave. It sees me. What do you see? Yeah, man. I don't like how it all went down either, DG. And I had many conversations with Tempest, many conversations, and uh, I did a lot in different ways for Tempest. Um, and the fact that he sort of had this alter ego slash role playing thing happening in the background that would endanger the credibility of the consortium, at least up until the point that we established it. You know, it's like a betrayal, and then it's like, who was this person that I've been talking to, that I helped like grow the community with, that I helped do things for and like create videos for, who, I use my YouTube channel to like make content to sort of promote, what we were working on and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden this happens, and it's like, who was this person? And like, you think that you were friends, but like, are you? You know, it's like the whole time he was trying to use maybe what I could offer, what I could bring to the consortium to help grow it, um, and make it more viable, solely just to do this whole thing with the Black Hand. It's really sad to think about, just that level of manipulation. Hell yeah, we got Grammy in the chat. What's going on, Grammy? Thanks for stopping back by. Cuz Walt, what's going on? Always lovely to see you in here, man. Yeah, it. Yeah, I agree, DG. It hurts in a way. I know it's weird. I don't know Tempest like as a person in real life, um, but I've had many conversations with the guy. We've talked personally. I've helped him with more than just the amino, um, and I'm really sort of shook by the whole thing. Man, how cool would it be if we got in the next update, if we had NPCs that actually like had voice performances? I mean, it's not going to happen, but it'd be pretty cool, I think. uh, yeah, Grammy, if you want to jump on the live stream, feel free. I don't know if you got time or not, but I created it in the Hidden Panda Show community page, so you can definitely jump on there and join that away if you want. What do you mean by that, Grammy? It seems everywhere I visited online has been seeing changes. Like, in what way do you mean? Like within the game itself, with people's bases and things like that, or are you talking about like different communities have been seeing changes and stuff? Oh, about PvP, everybody seems to be in an uproar about it. Well, yeah. I mean, realistically, um, one sec. Realistically, like after the game launched, people that were disappointed that the game didn't have multiplayer um, left, right? So all the people that were left behind that have been playing since day one have been playing not because of multiplayer and PvP warfare, but for exploration, and they've sort of created their own method of cooperative multiplayer in the game. So at least until Atlas Rises came out, and then they got like official multiplayer. But that being said, you know, PvP is not attractive to a lot of players. I don't care if it's there per se. Like, it wouldn't bother me that PvP isn't there, so long as I can control my level of engagement with PvP. I don't want to be forced into like PvP, which I don't think is going to happen anyway. I don't think they're going to, force you to participate in PvP. But I'm just saying, in general. Oh snap! Ivy Mike's in the chat. What's going on, dude? How you been? I have been absent from No Man's Sky for like 2 weeks. So excuse me. I apologize if I seem a little bit out of it. I'm just kind of trying to get back into the swing of things. I know this update is officially coming out like next month, as far as we know, like on the 24th. I think it's been confirmed that it's coming out on PlayStation at the same time as it is for everything else. So I'm trying to complete the story mode, the campaign stuff before. Like, I've not done any of it since it dropped like almost a year ago. So it's like I'm just now trying to finish up the storyline. Plus, the last 2 weeks I've been busy with this stuff in general, but I was working on beating God of War, which I successfully beat, and Horizon Zero Dawn and stuff like that. So Graham says, what is odd to me is everyone wanted multiplayer, so how did they think it was going to play out if not PvE or PvP? Because you could have PvE, Grammy, so it could be players playing cooperatively against the environment or some sort of NPC or some sort of other conflict in the game. Sort of like how you can play Destiny that way. Like, Destiny has PvP matches, but like you can play with like a fire squad basically. So it's you and your friends against NPCs. So I think that people that wanted multiplayer just wanted to be able to like play with their friends, not necessarily against their friends, or against people in general. And Grandma says, I didn't want multiplayer because this is how I saw it would become like a PvP game, and I wasn't sure if it was something I'd like to see in the game. Kendall Southwick's in the chat. What's going on, Kendall Southwick? you know, obviously you guys know the drill. Kendall Southwick has their own YouTube channel. Make sure you check it out. Same thing with Grammy Plays and Ivy Mike. So if you're subscribed to me and not subscribed to them, please subscribe to their channels. They have great content. Um, yeah, looks like DG seems to be familiar with Kendall. You know, multiplayer is going to be good for the game in general. I think that the galaxy is big enough that if people want to be alone, they can still be alone. The problem that I see is that the different hubs and civilizations out there are going to be under constant and vigilant attack from people who want to see conflict in the game. But for your average singular player who wants to disappear in the farthest reaches and continue to explore the game as a single player game, you know, I don't see that being that hard to do. I mean, I live in a hub system. I have portals where I can go wherever I want, and 90% of the time that I play, I still play by myself. So, it wouldn't be that hard to be alone. So I haven't been following it. The last thing that I did, as far as Waking Titan, um, not that anybody asked, but I just had the thought. Uh, was I got an email from Old Gods where I had to fill out a survey and all that other kind of stuff, and it looks like all the glyphs have been solved. So um, I'm not up to date today as of the what has happened with Waking Titan. Is it over? Is it done? Or are we like in the final stretch of it? So Graham says I went back to the G&G hub, Gepnik Gang hub last week, and I think tomorrow's stream will be one of me exploring my home planet. That's what's up. That's awesome. The first planet, so when Pathfinder dropped, and you got exocrafts for the first time, I built my first base during Pathfinder, and I took that roamer and I explored the living shit out of that planet. It was the first time and one of the few times, other than some races that I've done with the Amino Hub, exocraft races. Other than those, it's like the only time where I've entirely circumnavigated a planet. And I did it through cardinal directions. So I did a complete circuit around the planet from different angles, and completely just pretty much had the whole thing mapped out. And it was an awesome planet. It was a radioactive planet that had just the craziest like terrain formations. I wish I had the YouTube channel then and really was streaming at that point, um, to share that home base. I was in love with it. I spent a lot of time building that base. It was a really cool base, and the planet was awesome. All right, so Grammy says regarding Waking Titan, so they've had sound files dropped in Reddit. As far as I've gotten, I don't do Reddit, so I don't know what's been happening since yesterday. Yeah, I'm not big on Reddit. It just seems like it's confusing. Like when you have like media rich programs out there like Facebook or Amino or whatever, where you can more easily share pictures and comments and threads and stuff, the way that Reddit breaks down and its sort of layout like confuses me. Like I have a Reddit account and I try to use it, but I just can't figure this stuff out. All right, so Graven says, I played where I explored the whole planet before September 2016, then I didn't play again until I got the game in July 2017. You can see all of my gameplay from that time in my playlist. That's crazy. Did anybody watching? Did any of you like go back and play like the original release version of the game? Like one of my favorite series recently was where Mac Foraday played not the version, the day one version that like 98% of everyone played, but like the 1.0. You know, like if you were to go buy the disc right now from GameStop or whatever, throw it in with all your online services turned off so that it doesn't update, the 1.0 version, he did a whole series where he was playing that. And it's crazy to see the evolution of the game, how different it plays, it looks, how different you navigate, how different everything is. Because we've seen it stretched out over the last almost 2 years, sort of the evolution of No Man's Sky from release to now. So to then be where we're at now and go back and watch Mac 4-Day experience the game again like it was in 2016, it's kind of crazy. It was one of my favorite things on YouTube recently. So, and for those that don't know, Mac Faraday, M-A-C-A, no, Macfaraday. Well, it's actually just spelled Mac for a day altogether. That should make it easy. But go check out his channel and sub if you haven't yet. But he's got good stuff. His streams are good fun. He's a cool guy. All right, so Graham says Emily and Loop 16 are getting corrupted files from various places on the map from a satellite. I don't do Reddit because I've been treated badly on it. Well, Reddit's one of those places where, like, if you don't like just magically know what the fuck you're doing as soon as you like use it, people are just like they're very condescending on there. They expect you to just know what you're doing. It's like you're not allowed to have a learning curve. I guess while I'm here, I could buy like some plutonium or something. So Grammy says the King Snake has done that, I think. I have the game in disc, so I could do that sometime as well. Yeah, just if you have PlayStation Plus, just make sure that you back it up to the cloud and then delete your save profile off of your PlayStation and turn your online services off and delete whatever updated files you have for the game off. And then that way you're not overwriting the online backup that you have, or you can back it up to a USB drive too. I mean, you know, but it's just one way around that kind of stuff. And then that way you can experience it and then delete it and update the game and get your save file back from before without losing any content or data. What to sell? What to sell? I'm not gonna fuck with it right now. Thanks for stopping by, DG. Take it easy, man. By the way, DG, sorry for not being so active on Cafe recently. I promise I will be more active on there, and I appreciate being made a curator in the NMS Cafe, and I will be much more active on there in the coming days. I just had a lot happening in a short period of time, so thank you guys for, understanding. And for those that are not familiar with Amino or the NMS Cafe, download the Amino application, join the NMS Cafe. It's a great place to be a No Man's Sky fan. I absolutely hate interacting with Gex. It's legit the worst. Okay. What's my next mission? Speak to Null. Okay. Now, I do just want to say, spoiler alert, for anybody that hasn't played the story mode. I think I'm the only person that plays No Man's Sky that still hasn't completed the story mode, so I'm probably not going to be spoiling it for anybody, but just in case I am, I'm playing the campaign for No Man's Sky. Alright, Hollow Terminus. Where ye be? Alright, so Grammy says she's the kind of person who won't use the social media where people are just rude to you. I tried to complain, but some of the dudes being rude were just higher up, so I said no more. Yeah, that's kind of why I like Amino. I've not really run into just people that are mean on Amino. Generally, almost everyone has been really cool. It's sort of my best, like my favorite social media method right now is using Amino. Grammy says that if you can't be kind and help others, then I don't really have a lot of time for you. I think we should all help each other as much as possible. Exactly. I'm part of the No Man's Sky communities, but I will check out the NMS Cafe next time I'm on the Amino. And Grammy says, I just restarted the story mode so I can try to get all the glyphs before moving to the next galaxy. Yep, I actually used the TOG glyph path method to get all the glyphs. Because I was planning on joining the Galactic Consortium and starting a video series of the different farms that I visit. And in order to do that, you need all the portal codes. So I used the TOG glyph path to do that. So you just need the first two glyphs, and then you type in a portal address to a specific planet that the TOG has discovered 14 other glyphs just marked with comm balls in the landscape, and it's pretty badass. So in an hour you can have all of the glyphs. But yeah, no, Grammy, the NMS Cafe, it's, you know, it's different than all the other like aminos. Basically, like a lot of the aminos are civilizations and hubs and stuff like that. But the NMS Cafe is just a place to really share, like, your experience with No Man's Sky, like, and sort of promote yourself and your art and your fan art. You know, like, I go on there and I write, like, short fictions from time to time of just, like, little stories and stuff that I create, you know, pertaining to No Man's Sky. And it's a good place to, like, just meet friends and do, like, voice chat and stuff. It's cool. Like, it's hard to explain, and I'm doing a terrible job at it. But the NMS Cafe just has its own sort of vibe that is really just nice. And it's run by some really great people. Like, you just saw him in the chat, actually. DJ Squared is one of the leaders of the NMS Cafe. Lily is a leader as well, Lily Hop, who's, at least from my interactions with her, she's just been absolutely breathtakingly awesome and phenomenal to me. And helps me out with a lot of different things. And you've got Ranger, and, you know, it's a great community over there. So I've recently started looking into the Facebook No Man's Sky community as well. I've not interacted with it much, but I've been lurking, and they've got a pretty good thing going on over there also. I feel like, as far as gaming is concerned, No Man's Sky probably has, like, the nicest, kindest, best communities. And I hope PvP doesn't change that. I like Amino and Gepnik Gang and Cobra too. Yeah, absolutely. I've not been catching the live streams as much as I used to, and I feel kind of bad about that. And every time I get in the chat and Cobra sees it, he asks me to come on the show, but I'm never in the right place at the right time to do that, and it's very rare these days that I seem to be able to catch a show and participate in it. So I need to try to get back on that because I'm missing some time with Cobra. I also I've been streaming more when I do put stuff on the channel because it's easier to stream as a means of communicating with people and getting content on the channel and stuff like that, and it's very fast. So if I'm short on time and I've got stuff planned for the day and I don't got time to sit there and edit videos and things, I can just stream um, and be done with it fairly quickly. So, but my plan here is to sort of what I initially built the channel around, and mainly my subscriber base and most of the content was the edited videos that I would put out there with speculations and just different things that I thought were interesting and screenshots and stuff like that. So I want to get more of that content back on the channel that used to be there, because lately we've been doing a ton of streams. Except for the last 2 weeks where I wasn't doing anything. So Grammy, um, oh, Grammy says that she only seems to catch the show about once a month as well. Yeah, it. I love the whole Cobra community, and I just miss like really being in there. Cobra, from the first time I was able to get on the subcast and talk to him, has always been really cool and open with me getting back on, even with some of the things that I say, because I tend to be random and say crazy things, and some of the things that I say have been taken out of context, and I've gotten myself in trouble a little bit and gotten himself in trouble too. And he's always been very welcoming with me coming back um, onto the channel and stuff like that. And I just kind of want to spend more time. You know, I get a lot of really good community information from Cobra as well. But yeah, Grammy, if you don't know about the TOG glyph path, um, I'll send you a link to it some way, either in Amino or on PlayStation, and you can get your glyphs easy as hell. I love this lore of this campaign mode. What did you guys do? Like, there's so for those that have played through it, there's a part where you decide what's going to happen with Artemis, where he's going to go. Did you put him in the simulation, um, or not? I didn't. I'm kind of curious to see what other people did, but I did not allow Artemis to live in the simulation forever. Same. I killed Artemis too, Grammy, and I didn't feel bad about it. I couldn't think of anything worse to do to Artemis than to throw him in a simulation for eternity, with the way that they described how that was going to be. So I felt that by killing him, I showed him mercy. I don't know if you did it for the same reasons as me, but that's sort of the way that I viewed it. Um, and Grammy, it's not too complicated. It's easy. So if you have the first two glyphs, you don't even need to go anywhere. Like, if you have the first two portal glyphs, I can just send you the portal address to the planet that I'm talking about, and literally, it's all just they're just marked with comm balls. So you just go to the calm balls that you see on the map, and when you get there, there'll be a glyph in the ground. You just go to the calm balls. Try to do it in some sort of order so that you don't retrace your steps and do anything redundant. But it's super simple. I got my all my glyphs like in an hour and a half or something. So now, Grammy, I said I didn't feel bad for killing Artemis because I felt justified in my decision. But when you killed Artemis, did you feel any guilt for it? Did you sort of regret your decision, or was it pretty obvious that that's what you were going to do? Vanilla Sky kind of shows you what might happen to a soul trapped in a simulation. I thought death would bring peace as well. Exactly. I haven't seen Vanilla Sky, but I've heard of. I've heard. You're probably the fourth person that I've heard relate your decision with Artemis to Vanilla Sky, and that's that Tom Cruise movie. It's an older movie, right? I need to check that out. Do you think Ivy did that to get his glyphs? If you probably that sort of, especially like as we're approaching next, that's sort of what everybody seems to be doing right now is taking the glyph path uh, for one, just getting to a hub region, or two, just visiting farms to get money to buy freighters. Which I say this on every stream. Every update, freighters have gotten significantly more expensive. If there's anything that should be your goal right now, um, in No Man's Sky, a purchase that you haven't made yet, like if you don't have a freighter, get a damn freighter. Because I feel like they're going to become significantly more expensive in the next update. And I say it every time. My first freighter was 7 million units. My second freighter was 18 million units. My third freighter was 180 million units. And my fourth freighter was 290 million units. And that was after trade-in. So that kind of money can be difficult and grindy to come by. Get a freighter as soon as possible so that when the update drops, maybe freighters are 1 billion units. You know what I mean? So set yourself up for success. Grammy says no guilt. Exactly. It's a good reason. It's a good reason. The simulation just it seemed too much like purgatory. Graham says yes. It's about simulations as well. I won't tell you the whole story. Watch the movie if you get a chance. I'll check it out. Aside from the whole Scientology thing, I'm a very big fan of Tom Cruise, and there's very few Tom Cruise movies I've seen that I didn't enjoy thoroughly. So, and this new Mission Impossible movie is no different. This is probably going to be the best one yet. It's looking and shaping up really nicely. This is interesting. According to our data, we are standing in the same place. We are communicating using the same hollow terminus. We try again, but the results are the same. The world is silent, but for our voices. Kind of like our player orbs. What's happening here? Why can't we see each other? As we speak, I receive a distress signal. It's language my own. It arrives from across the planet. Yeah, it's kind of like we can be on the same planet at the same time, but we're existing in different instances. So it's kind of, they tied the player orbs into the lore, which is awesome because it doesn't make it feel so cheap. Cuz Walt says, I have my S-Class ship freighter set up. I've been grinding on extra inventory investments for the updates now. Hell yeah, dude. You gotta prepare, man. Plus, if PvP becomes a thing and there's gonna be griefers and people trying to fuck your shit up, excuse my language, um, you don't want to be the guy that doesn't have a freighter. You need as many assets as possible. You need a planetary base. You need a base inside your freighter, and your freighter can house 6 ships. So fill them up. I got one hauler that's 48 slots. I got 3 exotic ships and 2 fighters, and everything is A class or S class. So, like, be prepared. Because if you're not prepared and you need some help, I'm going to charge you to come save you with my freighter. That's one thing I'd really like to see in this update, though, is player-based trading. I think that would be really cool. I mean, during that interview with Xbox, Sean Murray did state that players can help each other survive. So I don't know exactly what that looks like in game. Obviously, it would be speculation otherwise. But interesting concept to think about, nonetheless. So the movie's really well done in that oddness way. I like that. I like movies that are sort of like Inception, for example, like movies that make you think real hard about it. A really effective movie at that, where it's odd, it's strange, and at the end of it, you really don't know like exactly the conclusion, is Shutter Island. So, and it's no coincidence that I just named 2 movies in a row starring Leonardo DiCaprio. I think he's like one of the best actors ever. If you haven't seen Django Unchained, he's incredible in that. He just plays a nasty fucker in that movie. But anyway, in Shutter Island, uh, when that movie ended, it's like I felt like I understood the storyline pretty good, but part of me was like, but maybe I'm wrong. Like maybe it's not what I think it is. You know? I like movies like that are weird, they're odd, quirky, or they're like, they don't have traditional, predictable endings or paths. Like if you watch the theatrical release of Blade Runner, it has like voiceover narration. It has like a happy like driving down the highway ending, like all kinds of stuff like that, because the studio wouldn't allow the director to make the movie that they wanted to make, so they made the director deviate from their path to create a movie the studio felt was a safe bet. So when you go back and you watch the final cut, like what Ridley Scott wanted to make, then that version of Blade Runner is one of the best movies ever made. Like I love just non-traditional movies that have deep concepts and things to think about. Don't be like that. I know you don't want this, but you'll be different. You soon, maybe this time. Oh, you'll be a different you soon. That sounds ominous. Candle Southwick says Vanilla Sky is a remake of the film Open Your Eyes. Penelope Cruz plays the same part in both films. That's awesome. some trivia right there. I'm really gonna have to check these movies out, like straight up. Grammy says I saw Shutter Island. It was good. Cuz Walt says you ever watched Legion? That'll trip you out. I never even heard of Legion until it somehow became incorporated in the ARG because an image that Sean Murray posted was from Legion that he posted on his Twitter account, and that's how I heard about the show. Um, so I'm going to need to watch it and see that. Kendall Southwick says, check out the film The Stuntman with Peter O'Toole. I like Peter O'Toole as an actor. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kendall Southwick, but I don't think we're talking about the same actor here. But one of my favorite movies of all time is a movie, my dad made me watch it, and I thought I was going to hate it, and I loved it. But it was called Lawrence of Arabia, and it's based on a true story. And I think the guy that played Lawrence, I think that actor's name was Peter O'Toole. So if that is in fact the same person, I'm already a fan of his work and probably will enjoy that movie. Grammy says, I can usually figure out the way a movie is going, but Vanilla Sky surprised me. That's good to know. Oh snap, we got Ryder S in the chat. It says, Panda, hi everyone. I've been stocking up on odd stuff like Trophium and night crystals just in case. Dude, people have been telling me to do that, and I'm gonna start. Like, I'm so used to dumping my Trophium, but there's stuff that, like, in earlier versions of the game, I wish I would have hung on to because they did something or were worth something when the update came. And people have been telling me I need to stock up on Trophium, and it's worth a lot right now. Good night, Grammy. Thanks for stopping by. Catch you next time. Kendall Southwick says, yes, same actor, great film. I'll have to check that out, man. Ryder, since you're just now getting in the chat here, I don't know if you just started watching or if you've been lurking, but believe it or not, dude, I've been playing the game since the release day and I've not done the storyline. So I'm streaming a little bit of the Atlas Rises story right now because I'm trying to complete it before the next update drops. I'm sure you guys have seen me post about this ship before, but this is the ship from the ARG. I don't have the white and gold one, I wish I did, but this one's a cooler color. I think it's like a gunmetal gray. But this is the ship from the ARG picture, and I wanted one super, super bad, and I'm so glad I was able to get one. And it's a 20 slot exotic, which is like the best you can get, and it has a full 12 tech slots. So I'm super stoked. It's a badass ship. Cuswalt says, don't forget Venom. I'm assuming you're talking about sack Venom? I would agree. Technology recharge. Oh my god, these things suck so much resources. Technology recharge. Well, definitely don't have a shortage of plutonium. Make sure you use your ship instead of the roamer for roamer and nomad tasks. Yep. I found two travelers, one who wanted to meet the others of their kind, one who just seemed to care about their own life. Apollo walked through the portal and survived, though we could not find each other. And Artemis. I allowed Artemis to die rather than place their soul within a simulation. I would not wish such a fate on any being. I do not know if I was right to do what I did. That's so funny because me and Graham were just talking about this. I do not know what I have become as a result of my actions. The Atlas awaits me, should I choose to step through. Now let's do it. Holy fuck, I missed the door. Wow. I am like legitimately in space. Wow. Sometimes these give you words. I don't know if it's going to give it. Yeah. Awesome. Ryder, that is such a good idea, man. To put all your stuff on your freighter in case the base gets wrecked. Like, I wish I would have done that, dude. Like, from my last base before 1.3 dropped. If I would have just put a lot of that shit on my freighter, I would have been in a lot less trouble than what I got into when the update dropped. I had to sort of start everything over. I hope I'm ready. Yeah, dude. I hope so. I mean, most of the people that play right now, dude, they're kind of like nomadic. They just kind of fly around, like exploring planets and stuff. They're not really like collecting things. So I think a few of us are probably much more ready than we need to be. I mean, like, dude, I'm telling you, like right now, I have a max slot A-class freighter with like all the warp drives, basically, and 6 ships, and I don't have anything lower than a S class or A class. Like most of my stuff is X class or S class, so I'm probably over prepared if anything. Yeah, I want to meet the creator. I want to meet Sean, Papa Sean. Where's he at? What should I do, guys? Should I initiate personality interface or wipe the system? I need guidance. I'm nervous to make a decision. It's kind of what I was thinking. Thanks, Ryder. Yeah, the problem with getting a better freighter Kindle is that the trade-in prices suck. Like, I had a freighter that from before Atlas Rises dropped that had more slots than I currently have now. That, but when I went to trade, it was a C class, and when I went to trade it in, I still ended up paying like almost 300 million for the one I have now, which is just like an A class. It's so much grinding to like get that sort of money in the game. Like I'm kind of over it. I'm glad I got a like I got an A class. I don't need a S class. Like like I'm straight right now. If I happen to come across an S class and I can afford it, I'll get it. But oh shit. Kendall says I do have the cash right now. I have a 25 slot C class. Hell yeah. How did you how are you making money in the game? Were you using like a like farm databases, sort of like the Galactic Consortium, or are you doing like your own personal farming? You allowed Traveler Artemis to complete their death process, preferring to wipe them from existence than to force them into the simulation. Yep. personal grind, huh? Damn, I couldn't imagine it. I've like using like swords farms and like different contributors in the consortium database. I've been able to make the same amount of money in No Man's Sky in a few hours that it used to take me like a year to make. What 16 even affects the Atlas? What is with this 16? I interacted before I started streaming with a Viking that when I mentioned the word 16 to them or the number 16 to them, they had like this weird malfunction and it said their speech slurred and their face drooped or something, which I thought was so weird. It's like, what is the significance of this number? Huh. Whoa. Vomit. Aw. It is the voice of my exosuit, which I can't wait to see in the next update, telling me it rescued me. It has been with me since my very first awakening, warning me of hazardous conditions, hostile entities, and financial transactions. In a strange sense, this voice is my oldest friend, constant companion through thick and thin. What should I do now? The exosuit does not answer, but I do feel better, talking to a computer as if it's alive. Well, I've made a habit of that lately, I suppose. I was born with the capacity to do so many things. I would have liked to live longer if I could have. My brief happiness fades. I need to warn those I know. I need to warn all the travelers I can. The multiverse ends in 16 minutes. If we have hours, days, years left within this false space, I do not know. Fucking crazy. Yeah, Ryder. I was afraid to like make decisions and like communicate with it. Man, that thing is like ominous, dude. What? God, that was weird.
Radiation protection stabilizing. Weapon charge depleted. Technology recharge.
Hmm. I mean, this plays right into the Waking Titan ARG lore about Ware and Myriad and all that kind of stuff. The Atlas Foundation, Ardnod's sickness. See, the ARG was really confusing to me, but now that I am seeing the storyline and how they tie together, that kind of now I'm kind of getting it more. I faced the Atlas once more. I do not know how to process what I have learned. So, is this the for anybody that's like familiar? Is this like the final mission? It says progress towards the galactic center. Is it going to force me to go to a different galaxy? I don't want to leave Euclid. Yeah, same writer. The ARG was confusing to me as well. Although to the ARG, I like the idea of uh, participating in the game, uh, but in real life, like without actually playing the game. Like I love all the live drops, like people actually having to go meet with somebody. Like it's almost like secret agents or something, man. It's kind of weird. Like how they were picking up documents and stuff, in the first chapter of Waking Titan, when they were picking up documents at like that cafe, and like having like dead drops and stuff. Like I love that. That shit is so cool. Like how many game developers do that? Like a lot of game developers do ARGs, but not like this extensively incorporated into the main plot of the game. Like it could not have been cheap.
Radiation protection
So clandestine.
stabilizing.
Exactly, dude. It's like fucking secret agents.
Technology recharge.
Hmm. I've had a theory about this, but you see how like when I completed that objective, it basically said like, come to the space anomaly, and then the space anomaly just appeared like above the planet. I think that's how we're gonna get introduced to our player models, like our customizable characters. Whoa. Take it easy, Ryder. Well, I'm fucking stuck underground, so can't go anywhere. That's dumb. Well, I guess that's my cue to call it a night, guys. For anybody that was kind of curious about what was going on with the Galactic Consortium, if you guys like heard any of those rumors or kind of that kind of thing, wanted to know what happened, with the Federation, that kind of stuff, watch the beginning of the stream. I kind of went over that with Funny Imps, and we had Sword in the chat earlier, who he's been having to deal with that as well. So check out the beginning. Um, Other than that, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. It's kind of a random stream. Didn't plan it, but yeah, appreciate you guys stopping by.